Joining me live is independent ACT Senator David Pocock for more on this. So we've had Jackie Lambie on the program today. Is there any way you'd actually vote and have this pass by December 1, by the government's deadline?
Great to be with you, Tom. My concern is the tight deadline. This is the biggest industrial relations reform in a decade or so. It's so important that we get it right, and the government has thrown in a whole bunch of things into this big omnibus bill. We got the first look at it on Thursday. There's a fair bit to go through, and as an independent, I want to be able to consult with my community. We've organised roundtables with employers. We'll be speaking to the unions and workers. Clearly, a lot of workers do need wage growth. That is urgent. But I think the most important thing is that we get this right. And the thing that I've put to the government is that 3 weeks, which include a week of Senate estimates, is not enough time to have a thorough look at this, to do the consultations that are necessary to form a view, and so that I can vote on behalf of the ACT with confidence that I know what I'm voting on and that there is support for it.
So there is no way you'd support this by December 1. You're telling the government emphatically, without caveat, not going to support this yet. You need to delay this vote.
I've said to the government, and I said it in the Senate on Thursday, that there are elements of this bill which I think are fairly non-controversial and people want to see happen. A lot of the elements around gender equity, 2 new expert panels for the Fair Work Commission. I think even the tweaks to the boot, people have been talking about for a long time. There seems to be a general consensus, but when it comes to multi-enterprise bargaining, that is fairly new. And the government may have done consultations before announcing on Thursday, but my understanding is a lot of those consultations were done under a non-disclosure agreement. So a lot of people who weren't in those meetings have not seen the detail, and it's going to take some time to get through this and ensure that we know some of the unintended consequences.
So if the government wanted to break off a section or two, maybe the boot or whatever it might be, that you could vote for that by December 1, or is it best handled in this sort of omnibus bill?
Well, the omnibus is the way that the government's decided to present it. I put to the Senate that we could cut it up and look at different elements and be able to scrutinise different parts of it and potentially pass legislation. But as an independent, I have real concerns about the way this is being done, to have such a short timeline for people to submit their submissions, and then for the Senate committee process to happen in a thorough way.
Seems pretty clear, and I don't think you're alone on the complexity element. What about you say that there's no doubt we need to get wages moving? What is the irrefutable evidence you've seen on this in terms of that case? Because the ABS breakout actually said percentage of workers in terms of wages over the past decade, if you strip out mining, has actually gone slightly up and company profits are slightly down. Do we have a definitive wage issue? Obviously inflation right now, but is there a definitive long-term wage issue in this country?
Well, I think you can talk about wages potentially going slightly up, but the cost of living hasn't been going slightly up. You look at housing across the country, the price if you want to buy something, even if you want to rent, has gone up a lot. Fuel, groceries, people are feeling the pinch across the country. I think we've seen the response to this budget with there being little in terms of cost of living relief for people. People are feeling it, and I think particularly frontline workers who have helped get us through the pandemic. We realise just how important they are. Nurses, people working in aged care. We have to ensure that they can earn a wage that allows them to actually live in the communities where they provide these essential services. And talking to people in those sectors, there are serious issues around wages. It's really important that we get them moving.
We're a bit short on time, but look, it's a complex bill. We'll wade into, I'm sure, another day, given there's all that detail to talk about, and I suspect not the December 1 deadline the government wants. David Pocock, thanks for your time.
Cheers. Thanks, Tom. Thanks for having me.